Again? It's you, isn't it? Shut the door, traveler. This wind carries old memories, and I'm too worn to chase them through the night. Sit by the fire. Same stool as always. Yes, good. Let me gather my thoughts. Winter stories cling to the tongue like frost. You want to hear what happened that year? The cruel winter. The return to a home that no longer felt like mine. Very well. Lean closer. The flames listen when we speak of the dead. That winter, any fool could tell it would be merciless. The air had that sharpness only the old know how to sense, a cold that settles into the soil long before the first snow falls. My father had been buried the previous winter while I was leagues away on a mission. A landscape, imagine that. Painting sunlight while my father was lowered into frozen ground. I carried that shame with me the entire journey back to the town where I was born, where I ran my first steps, scraped my first knees, and learned what silence meant in the countryside. A new invention had reached these lands by then, kerosene lamps, strange, humming things. The year was somewhere late in the 1800s, and people treated those lamps like magic pulled from the future. Houses glowed a little brighter at night, and streets flickered with trembling yellow halos. Even so, caution was our creed. Light draws eyes you don't want wandering, my old fellow Watchman used to say, especially during winter nights. He wasn't wrong. When I first arrived, the town felt unfamiliar, stripped of its childhood warmth. More drifters wandered the streets than I remembered. Too many without homes. Too many with that hollow, winter-haunted stare. I felt the cold inside my chest, just thinking how they'd survive the months ahead. I came back mostly for my mother. Age had taken her strength. Illness had taken the rest. She'd become bedridden, relying on whoever still remembered her name. No husband, no siblings, no neighbors willing to spare the time. Only me. I settled back into the rhythm of the town over weeks. Took whatever small jobs I could find, clearing the snow from storefronts, sweeping the shops before dawn, making myself useful the way a son should. Every night, before I lay down, my mother whispered the same words with failing breath. Leave bread by the door. I didn't understand at first, thought it was some fading superstition from her youth. But then the bar whispers reached me. The locals spoke softly, eyes darting to windows, voices dropping whenever the name surfaced. Gartha, a widow whose husband died in a fire, left alone with her infant, cast aside in the bitter winter by neighbors who refused her shelter. She had begged for a bed, a warm bowl of soup, a roof, anything. No one offered. The storm that week was the kind that carves fear into bone. They found her and her child in the town square, frozen, still, pale as the frost on the well stones. A sight so dreadful it cleaved itself into the townsfolk's memories. And then the night terrors began. Fires, screams, homes burnt to cinders by dawn. People said her ghost wandered from door to door, searching for the warmth she had been denied, seeking those who refused her. And each house that left nothing for her, no bread, no offering, was found charred and hollow when the sun rose. Some said they heard a woman humming. Others swore they heard a baby crying in the wind before the flames took hold. My mother, frail as she was, never forgot. Bread by the door, she'd insist. Bread, or she'll think you turned her away too. And on the coldest nights, when the wind slithered through the shutters, I swear I felt a presence linger just beyond the threshold, waiting, listening. After all I told you about that cursed season, there was one night etched deeper than the others. I had placed the bread on the doorstep as my mother insisted. I even laid my own blanket beside it and slept by the door, foolishly hoping to catch a glimpse of whatever haunted our streets. What woke me was neither cold nor dream, something between a whisper and a child's quiet sob pressed against my ear. When I opened the door, There were no footprints in the snow, yet the bread was gone. No animal tracks, no marks of a boot, just the empty step, clean as if swept by invisible hands. From that night on, I felt something circling the house. Every evening the snow shifted in strange patterns. Every gust of wind carried what sounded like someone breathing too close. Perhaps it was only my mind. Men alone with their thoughts often invent their own ghosts. But that is the trouble with fear. Once it finds a doorway, it does not knock again. It walks right in. Then came that night. I had drunk more than I should have in the tavern. Loneliness is a thirsty thing, and I drowned it clumsily. By the time I stumbled home, the town was silent. So silent, I could hear the oil in the new kerosene lamps ticking inside the glass of every porch. My mother was asleep, struggling for breath, each exhale like a saw dragged across wood. The air stank of snow and stale drink. I remember barely managing to close the door before collapsing on my bed. Bread for the doorstep never crossed my mind. It must have been near dawn when a heavy hand slammed against my shoulder. The world lurched awake, orange light bleeding across the walls. Our neighbor's broad-shouldered son, barely a man, still half a child, was shouting my name. Flames licked the beams above us, small at first, hungry and fast. For a moment I froze, as if my body refused to believe fire could bloom inside our home. Then instinct tore me loose. We dragged my mother outside together, her weight limp, her breath wheezing against the cold. Had that boy not been awake, who knows what would have remained of us? You ask how he knew. He told me later that something had pulled him from sleep, a noise, a feeling. Or perhaps it was nothing but the old lamps hissing against the frost. Yet, he kept glancing over his shoulder that morning, as if afraid the winter mist might reach out and touch him. People in town whispered that he had drawn Gartha's ire by saving us, that by interfering with her chosen victims, he had taken our place in her tally of grievances. I never said I believed it. I only know that after that day, he walked with a heaviness in his eyes, as if shadows clung to him, even in sunlight. You look unsettled, traveler. That is good. Stories worth remembering should stir the calm surface of the mind. As for me, I still wonder, was it truly her? But some nights I swear I still hear that child's cry. Faint, wandering, searching for the mother the world refused. Now, if you don't mind, these weary eyes need their rest. The wind carries old voices tonight, and I've told you more than most. In these parts, a whisper can be a warning or a memory. Only the night decides which.